head of media, and then technical report. And the second, okay, let's why Greeks exit from the euro would be a bad idea. Anyway, let's use this example. Can the Greek debt restructuring or autopsy? For example, if you wanna cite this one, you can click cite here, and then click APA, copy, and then in your paper, you can go. Yeah, for example, you can do paste over here, and then after your argument, for example, after your argument, you can do okay, this is what I think. You write down and then cite like this. In this case, there are more than 3. Actually, you can write them down. It's fine. Okay, something like this. Okay. So once we read your argument, and then next we can check. Okay, this guy said something similar related to your idea, and if we are more interested in this paper that is related with the idea, then we can go to the reference, and then we can download this paper and something like that. So in this case, citation format is something, you don't have to provide this link. It is enough, okay? Something like this. This APA format, let me write down. Use APA format for referencing. Okay. And then let's check high cost one. HYU. Text event. Beg your pardon? Yes. Yes, I noticed it. So if you have to pay an article, of course you have to drop it, because most of the important articles, I mean, or journal, most of the important journals, then university should pay it. And if university already paid it, if university, Hanyang University didn't pay yet for a particular journal, it means that journal is maybe not important. So it means maybe it is not worthwhile to cite them at all. So if you have to pay for an article, then just ignore it. That may be not that important. And then in addition, again, please use IP address in the Hanyang University. Please use internet in Hanyang University. Then you can download most of the important article for free. Yes, then you can ask Korean friends, and then actually if you go, I think if you visit administrator officer in the first floor, then I think they will let you know how to do it. You have to download a small program and then log into 10 and say good. Yes, this is says in this case, okay. You write down name already, so in this case you can just write, okay, and then delete them. Okay. So moral point of view and ethics. And then in this case, you don't have to write down entire thing, right? Again. And then just write down last name, and then year of publication. Something like this. Again, use APA citation format. Okay, I don't have enough time, so one of you who will yield to other. Okay, I will check your Angelica. Okay. Yes. Yes, so again, yes. Article 1, you don't have to do this. You can write down just something like this. Actually, you write 2, and then since you are citing 2 articles, you can do this. Okay? Delete it. Something like this. So you make your argument, and then you cite 2 papers this way. And then this one too, you don't have to write article 4 or something like that. And you, when you download the academic paper from Google Scholar, if you go through it, you would figure out how they cite, how other scholars cite other people's idea, right? So please take a look at how other scholars use citations and reference. Okay. Anyway, you have to do literature review. Our homework was about literature review. And you do literature review, you will basically skim through other people's paper, and they did the citation and referencing correctly. So basically you can use their paper as your benchmark, okay, for this one. And then you should be, maybe I am too picky about this one, but it is very important though. It is the most important part of your paper. Without correct referencing and citation, well, people may regard your paper simply plagiarism, for example. That is very bad. It is bad for your reputation and then everything. So, I mean, this is a very important part. This is how people use other people's idea and how people build on other people's idea. Anyway, the progress of science, or progress of the human knowledge is all like this. So it is very important. Okay? It is all about this citation, referencing, and building on other people's idea. Is all about academic work. It's the fundamental difference between academic work and then other practical, non-academic amateur work. Okay. So please become a perfectionist, at least in this referencing and citation. Again, this is the most important part of your homework and essay. Very important. Okay, for next homework, now I think it is time to describe your data. Okay, so yeah, maybe you didn't start any data analysis yet, but at least you have some data in your mind, right? I hope. Because you have to prove your hypothesis and you have to prove your argument with data. So although you didn't collect data yet, but still you should have some idea about what kind of data you are going to use. Okay, so you have to describe that data. It doesn't have to be long. Okay. So homework due until this Friday. Please, just a moment, please describe your data. Some of you may not have started collecting your data. However, you should at least have some ideas on what kind of data you will use, how you will collect the data, and then what sources you will use, etc. You can describe them. Data, why I keep misspelling describe. Okay. The data can be like a secondary database, or media, like a qualitative data, like media, like case. Okay, media, not case. Cases, like a name of the firms, something like that. And then interviewee. Okay. So maybe you want to download the data and do some statistical analysis. That is secondary database. Maybe you want to do qualitative or collect qualitative data like a text, media article, give some topic. And maybe you want to do, if you are interested in case study, well, then maybe I want to do case study about Samsung Electronics. Then you have to describe Samsung Electronics, something like that. And then if you want to do interview, okay, other experts, then you have to describe the interviewees, okay? What kind of people you will meet, how long will you will do interview, something like that. Yes, Kevin? I mean, when I say data, it is very general, okay? Whatever data you can use, I'm very open to all sort of data, okay? Once you have a research question and you can use just the best data, best data that fit to your research question. I don't care whether it is a primary data or secondary data or whatever, it doesn't matter, okay? Just collect the most appropriate data for your research question. Okay, so, well, I know it is only 2 days left until this Friday, but it is just, by this time, because you have a research question and did a literature review, reviewed almost 10 papers, so, I mean, it shouldn't be, it simply does not make sense if you don't have this kind of idea until now, right? So that's why I'm giving you only 2 days to do this homework. And then another one. This one is due. Please fill out this form and print out, and then submit to both class discussion board, and then to me. Okay, please print out. Okay, please fill out this form and submit to both class discussion board and to me before at the beginning of the class. Then what I mean by this form? It is the article review form. Okay. Article review form. Article review form. Where is it? Where is it? Article review form. Okay. Okay. I can copy and then paste. Fill out this form. Okay, then let's check this form. Well, it's a simple table. Type, well, you have to determine your type of your research. You will do whether exploratory or empirical analysis or theoretical analysis. What I mean by exploratory research or empirical research or theoretical research, you can just Google it. I mean, yeah. And then you can write down what is your research question at this where and argue why is your research question important, why it is interesting here, and framing, phenomenon driven or theory driven. Okay, there is a way of writing a paper. You start from a phenomenon and investigate it, or in the other way, you have maybe a prior thought or hypothesis, and then you test it, like either inductive way or deductive way. Right? I think you all learned this in high school, right? So when you write down a paper, you should determine whether it's inductive or deductive. All people die, all humans die, Socrates is human, therefore Socrates will die, something like that, right? And it is deductive reasoning, right? It is deduction or induction? I'm confused. I think that's the induction, right? Deduction? No. Confused. Deductive reasoning is a logical conclusion based on the concordant multiple premises. Okay, so that's Socrates thing is a deductive reasoning. And then another way, you collect all the data about swans, swan 1, swan number 2, and you find them are all white. Therefore, you can conclude that all swans are white. That is inductive reasoning. Okay. So in this article review form, okay, if you want to use inductive reasoning, it is a phenomenon driven. Okay. If it is a deductive one, it's a theory driven. Okay. So you have to determine one strategy, either two strategies to make your argument. So the theoretical lenses, okay, you went through. Okay. Now it is time to use your literature review. In the literature review, okay, and since you did the literature review, I think you can now ready to answer this one. What is the key literature related with your paper? What is the consensus of existing literature? What is the limitation of existing literature? And then theoretical approach, verbal, mathematical, analytical, mathematical, computational. Okay, it means that when you derive your hypothesis, I mean, you have to determine how will you drive your hypothesis. I think most of it will be like a verbal explication. But if you like mathematics, maybe you can write some mathematical model and you can drive your hypothesis and reasonings from mathematics, what many economists do. But if you do not do it, you can just go through literature and then data, and then you can just extend other people's paper. That is likely to be verbal exploitation, I think. Sometimes people use computer simulation, write down computer simulation, generate the simulated model, and then from simulation they can generate, okay, in this case, what would happen? In that case, what would happen? Something like that. And using that simulation, they sometimes derive hypotheses. But I can't see any of you using computational model. So that's, I think still most of you will use verbal exploitation still. But anyway, if you want to use some mathematics, or if you want some computer simulation, it would be fine. And the next one is hypothesis. I know it is very early stage of your research, therefore I think you may not have your hypothesis yet, okay? But please do your best to brainstorm your hypothesis. In the end, you will test or validate your hypothesis with your data. By the way, when I say hypothesis, can I open this one in open? What would happen if I open this in Google Doc? Okay, this is actually better. Okay, article review form. Get shareable link, copy, done. Okay, change. Okay, let's use this one. Okay, when I say hypothesis, please use hypothesis this way, like the more A, the more B, something like that. The more C, the more D, something like that. So when you develop hypothesis, it should be something like this. The more A, the more B. When A increases, B increases, something like that. So A is called independent variable, and B is called dependent variable. Okay? So please fit your hypothesis into this format. Okay? There are many ways of writing down hypothesis, but believe me, this is the easiest, and then it is easiest way to write down hypothesis, and then it is also easiest to understand your hypothesis. Okay, any question up to this point? Any question? Laura, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Angelica, I'm sorry. Angelica, do you? Okay? Is it okay? So Angelica, Laura. Laura, so it is fine? Okay, so, okay. And then construct. Construct is a concept, okay, concept. In your hypothesis, there is a concept A, concept B, concept C, concept D, something like that. They are concepts. You write down these concepts and write down what you mean. Okay, like the more inflation, the more economic growth. Then inflation, something like that. Economic growth, something like that. The lower the interest rate, the larger the economic growth. Then what do you mean by interest? There are a lot of interest rates, but you have to specify particular interest rate. And then there are a lot of ways to measure economic growth, but you have to specific about what you mean by economic growth, something like that. So they are basic A, B, C, D here. And a context, it could be either industrial phenomenon. Unit of analysis, this is a very important part. Okay, unit of analysis is a very important one. Okay. Maybe you want to analyze a firm. At the firm level, you collect the data at the firm level and then do the firm level analysis. Sometimes you want to analyze people, like individuals. So you want to do individual, like a survey. If you do the survey people and the data for each people, each person, it is like an individual level analysis. If you download accounting data or stock market data or stock prices for each firm and analyze their stock price, it is a firm level data. If you download data, stock market data for each firm at each year, throughout year, it is firm year analysis. Okay, for firm, again, you analyze them each year. So it's from year analysis. Maybe you want to do survey or experiment, then it is experiment survey. No. If you analyze a particular event, then it is event level analysis. Maybe if you want to do analysis at a country level, compare Germany and Greece, country level analysis. Okay, so you need a analysis, and then your sampling strategy, it is like a data. It is similar to it is basically homework you have to do by next week. You use what kind of data you will use. Either archival data, survey, case study, experiment, something like that. And then you briefly describe your sample. Okay. And then measure. Okay. Okay. So measures and empirical models. And then I think this part would be hard. Okay, but you again please do the brainstorming, right? In A, B, C, D, something like this. When you wanna test this hypothesis, you have a concept, then you have to collect the data for A, B, C, D, something like that. Okay, and then AC is called independent variable, BD is called dependent variable again. So when you write down whether they are dependent variable, independent, or write down construct again over here and describe them in data, something like that. Write down the range. It is the value of this one is either from 0 to 1 or 0 to 100 or something like this. I know you don't have data, so at this stage you have to imagine your possible data for this one. And your data may be continuous, binary, ordinal, or cardinal, something like that. It is not. It doesn't look pretty. It doesn't move. And the empirical model, please skip this one. Okay, skip this one. Okay. And the finding, please write down your expected finding. You will either validate hypothesis or reject hypothesis, something like that. And a contribution, please write down what kind of contribution you can make with your research. Okay. So except this line, I think you can fill, okay? You can fill other part. Of course, for this one, you have to use your imagination, but I think it would be a good exercise, good guideline for your future analysis. Is everything okay? Yeah. Rachel, do you have any question? No, is it okay? So Heiko, any question? Actually, you can download this one if you go to this Google link, and then let's copy and paste to the other browser that I didn't log in. Okay, for example, if you access the link, then you can see this web page, something like this. Then you can simply download either MS Word or ODT. Text is not good. Either MS Word or ODT, okay? And suppose you are download open document format. And then if it is open one, wow, this is completely broken. This doesn't make sense, okay? Then maybe you can download it to MS Word format. I hope this works. Okay, it works. You can download it with MS Word format, and you can simply fill this table and upload to the class discussion board. And then also please print out this time. Also please print out and then submit to this desk before next class starts. Oh. Next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. For some of you, this one would be very hard, especially those who didn't do homework until now very carefully. Then it would be very hard. But if you did homework, if you have done your homework very carefully and sincerely, I think this will be a piece of cake. Okay, so any other question? Yes, Richard.
One regarding the first homework. Should you like combine the analysis with the summaries or like make it separate?
About the first homework, it is data description, right?
Yeah.
Data description. So, well, ideally, it can be. Of course, it should be related with your research question and literature review. But anyway, it is independent. You just write down the data. So if you want to analyze like Xiaomi, for example, then you can just write down what is Xiaomi. If you want to just do the analysis on Apple, you can just write down what is Apple, why, what is Apple or something like that. If you want to analyze a particular event like 911, you describe 911. That's all, okay? And that should be, of course, related with your literature review and research question, but anyway, the data description is independent. People can read it, understand it without knowing your research question. Okay, so it should be fun. Okay, any other question? No? Yeah. No, I mean, eventually, of course, eventually you have to get your data. It is true, but you don't have to get the data for your homework at this stage, okay? It is basically your plan. You just write down data in your mind that you want to collect, just describe it. And then maybe next 2 or 3 weeks, then you can collect the data, okay? So at this stage, it is just planning stage. Of course, I agree that if you have data in your mind, if you have your desired data, but when you actually begin collecting the data, it is not always easy to collect that your ideal data. In that case, you have to modify your plan slightly, okay? Then, yeah, I can understand, but still you need a plan. You need a plan about what data you will use, yeah? And then you have to have your idea about what would be your ideal data, something like that. You don't have to collect the data until next week or this Friday, no. Okay, you just need a plan. But I advise you to start as soon as possible collecting the data, right? But obviously you cannot collect the data in 1 or 2 days. It will take some time, okay? So it would be better to start earlier. If it is your case study, okay, suppose you want to do case study about the iPhone 6 Plus or something like that, then, well, of course, there are a lot of internet articles about iPhone S Plus, but still, you want to talk with those people who are actually using iPhone 6 Plus, write down their comment, their opinion, and it would take time, right? Like that. Let me ask you, okay, for example, Kim Ye-chan, what kind of case, what kind of data you want to collect? Not case. Homework for due, homework that is due this Friday. Okay, suppose you are starting the homework due this Friday, data description right now. What kind of data? What would be your homework?
I will use the case.
Okay, what case? Okay, good start. What case?
So I will find information of my data in the specific sites that has already success or succeeded.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what sites? You have to name the
Or,
site.
yeah, Kickstarter or some corresponding sites.
Great. Then you can basically explain those websites. What are they? Why you chose those study those things. Yeah. So for your case, it would be very easy. And then for case study, this one your theoretical. I think it is verbal explanation, and it is I think industry, crowdfunding industry for this one. Universal analysis. I think it is firm. Yeah, form level analysis. Sampling strategy is case study. Sample description, kickstart, form 1, form 2, form 3, something like that. Of course, this part would be tricky. The more A, the more B, the better the brand, the more fund they have. Well, I don't know, something like this. The more social networking, the better the success in crowdfunding. I don't know. You have to come up with your. Yeah. And then 조현정, what would be your data description?
Stock data like that liquidity or like from 2009 to 2014.
Okay, dividend data. Okay, then in your case, your data description is like I downloaded from dividend data and other accounting data from FN guide, possible FN guide, from year 1, from year 2, right? You need something like that. That's all. I think that would be very easy for you. And then I don't know. In your case, dividend is dependent variable, independent variable. Both way. Yeah, okay, so for example, the more for example, the more book value of the firm over market value, the more dividend, something like that. In this case, dividend is dependent variable. If you use independent variable, the more dividend yield, the higher the future stock return, something like this. That would be the another. And again, in your case, okay, theoretically it will be bubble, and then hypothesis something like that. Constant, what dividend yield? Dividend yield, dividend divided by annual dividend divided by stock price, something like that. And then book to market ratio is the book value of the firm at the year end and market value of the firm at the year end, something like that. So it is very easy. It is context is, I think, a phenomenon, dividend phenomenon. Unit of analysis is definitely firm year. Okay, in your case, for dividend each year, and it is the UK database, FN guide. Well, in your case, for case study, this part is a bit tricky. For database analysis, this part is actually easier. But instead, you have to use statistics. So there is always a pros and cons using the quantitative data-driven analysis or case study. Yeah, there are always pros and cons. Yeah, any other question? I think Tusa, yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, that is a very good question. So your research question is basically how to do Islamic banking in Europe, or whether Islamic banking in Europe is a good one or something like this, right? So basically you want to generate, so eventually your goal is to generate hypothesis which looks like the more successful Islamic banking in Europe, something like this. That would be, I guess that would be your possible hypothesis. In order to make Islamic banking successful, you need like A1, A2, A3. Another way, the more something, the less successful Islamic banking in Europe. Like the more B1, the more B1, the less successful Islamic banking. The more B2, the less successful Islamic banking, something like that. So A1, A2, A3 is a success factor that makes success factor, which means they are the factors that would make Islamic banking successful in Europe. And then B1, B2, B3 is the failure factors that would prevent Islamic banking in Europe, something like this. In this case, so that would be your hypothesis. And then if you do the case study, then maybe you can, at least in this case, you need two cases. You need a case 1 and case 2. In one case, they have succeeded in Islamic banking in Europe, and the other case, they failed in Islamic banking, and they looks ideally, they looks identical, except just one factor. A firm has a factor A, and then B firm has doesn't have that factor, then you can reason that, okay, this form has this element and succeeded it, and this form doesn't have this element and they failed it. So you can argue that, okay. So basically, in that way, you can prove your argument.
So that's what like I have to look for my data, right?
Yeah, data is,
I will look from your case studies where you failed and they succeeded, and then I explain the result.
yes, exactly, exactly. Yeah, so, yeah, exactly. Of course, in that case, you have, so in your case, it is about, I don't know, it is a phenomenon or industry or I don't know, it is maybe. But anyway, in case your analysis is basically firm level analysis, right? Right? I think it would be firm level. You are connecting data firm A or firm B, right? Then it's firm level analysis. Firm A succeeded, firm B failed, and because of what? It is firm level analysis. So in this case, you need data for two firms. Sometimes you can do this analysis with only one firm if they have a different time period. At like early 1990s, firm A failed, but maybe year 2000 they succeeded. Then, although they are same firm, once they have a capability of Islamic banking, they succeeded. Then you can use the same firm for distinguished period. Okay. In that case, you have one case study, but in different time periods. You do it fine. And then you can write down construct Islamic banking. What you mean by Islamic banking? Success of Islamic banking. What you mean by success in Islamic banking? What you mean by failure in Islamic banking? Right? You need to define on success and failure. And then when you do the case study again, when you write down the more A, the more successful Islamic banking, and you have to write down this A part. What the key success factor in Islamic banking, and you have to specifically describe it. That's actually difficult part for case study. For database analysis, it is very easy. It is easy to define dividend yield. It is easy to find what we mean by stock price. But in your case, when you do case study, you have to be creative because it is more qualitative. It is like a success factor, some sort of a strategic capability in Islamic banking. And you have to specifically define what you mean by the strategic capability in Islamic banking. So that part is hard actually for case study. So there is always, but you don't have to use statistical method in that case. You have to use your brain more. So anyway, there are pros and cons of doing qualitative analysis and quantitative analysis. Yours is qualitative analysis, case study, and Yeonjung's work is quantitative analysis. Okay, any other question? Time is actually up. Laura, any question? No? Any question? No? Okay, good. See you this Friday. Yeah. Oh, when is your presentation? I don't know. Let's check it. Your presentation is no. There is no your presentation. When you wanna do presentation in 29th? When is it? 29th is next Wednesday. Okay? Yeah, because it is required, so you have to do it. Thank you.